Today on Food Journey, we're opening our Food Journey Alphabet Cookbook and adding some pot luck. We're spinning that wheel to see which letter wins. And we'll be serving up some great recipes together. Hello and welcome to Food Journey. Today I'm very happy to share with you the first in a series of episodes for the Food Journey Alphabet Cookbook. When I created this idea, I wanted to share a collection of recipes which were mainly essential, basic, and easy to execute. Well, we've all spun the wheel together today and we've landed on the letter E. Adding a GGS to it was an obvious choice for me. And I know eggs aren't for everyone. But certainly, these are a most familiar ingredient and a staple in your kitchen cupboard. Here's the menu. We're starting off with a self-named original African take on Eggs Benedict. And then it's back to my UK boarding school days with a nostalgic pineapple crumble and custard. And how do you like your scrambled eggs? Followed by my world flavor, egg stew. The recipes today are all related to a story which is attached to my personal food tree of experiences, and I'm sharing them exclusively and lovingly with you. Hello and welcome to the kitchen. We're about to start on our first dish, poached eggs. Mine are going to be a little bit fancy though, so fasten your seatbelts for this fabulous one. The main thing is that the yolk remains runny. Now, why would you want that? I ask myself. In fact, my mum used to give me poached eggs when I was a kid and I thought it was some sort of weird punishment she was trying to mete out on me. But really, it's so that the egg yolk can shine in its own right as an individual flavor, texture, and kind of like a sauce for everything else that it touches. All right? I have some beautiful ingredients here that are going to really Africanize this dish. Some wonderful ugu, some beautiful yam, fresh yam, and some lovely fresh farm eggs as well. So let's get started. This recipe is inspired by my taste of Eggs Benedict. Toasted bread base topped with crispy bacon, poached egg, and silky hollandaise sauce. Mine will be Africanized with fresh ugu and yam, washing the hearty leaves thoroughly first before boiling. A couple of slices of yam to be sure. And see how the skin just peels off so easily? Salted and ready to be boiled. The ugu is boiling and the pot ready for my poached egg. We'll drain, cool off, squeeze the excess liquid out too. So here's our bolus of vegetable now, quite reduced from what we had before, but perfect for what we're trying to do. Just a little bit of a slice here. We've taken out some of the moisture, but not absolutely everything. It's a rugged leaf, I'll tell you that. And even after a considerable amount of cooking, it still could have gone further if need be. But this is good for our purposes. So that's the ugu portion. And now just crushing a little garlic. We need that in our handy garlic crusher. One more. For the fairly bland ugu, we're turning up the dial on flavor by sauteing in olive oil, butter, and salt. A little garlic too. A transformation of tastes. Poaching the egg is easy. First, crack one good fresh egg. In simmering water, a splodge of vinegar, which will hold the egg white together. Create a vortex, and in the middle of that swirl is where we're going to drop our egg. 2 minutes later, and the egg white scraps left behind, here is the finished poached egg. All that's left is to stack this up generously. Ugu first, and then our poached egg, and topped with the basic leftover red stew that all we Nigerian home cooks have somewhere in the fridge. You can see the soft yolk as I cut, and it really tastes a great combination, satisfying and comforting. It's gonna stick to your ribs. Lovely, lovely as a breakfast, lunch, or snack. We are going to make a dessert now. Yes, a dessert. One arising from pure nostalgia of my younger days in a British boarding school, and the rekindling of this by preparing an old staple, custard, to go with a very tropical version of a classic dessert. The next dish is a crumble. Now, when I was young and growing up in boarding school, we'd have apple crumble, but the type of apple that you really need for that is difficult to get here, that type of cooking apple. So we're going to use pineapple. We're tropicalizing this dish today, and I've got a lovely pineapple to use. This pineapple is ripe and sweet too, and once I've skinned, trimmed, and remove the spiky hard bits, I'm cutting into medium thick slices. I want to make the pineapple even sweeter by employing a healthy process really, in a hot, dry grilling pan, like so. And minutes later, you can see the lovely grilling lines of caramelization, changing the taste from cool, tart and sweet to deep, rich and intense. Now, these look beautiful, they smell beautiful, very concentrated. The next thing to do is just cut them up into bits, just as the apple would have been cut up into bits. And afterwards, I'm going to put them in this handy little container to bake. Very good if you don't have a proper baking implement. It's cheap and cheerful. Although the pineapple has been caramelized, it still retains enough liquid to create a sweet sauce when you put it in the oven again. So we're going for 1 cup of flour for the crumble. Oops. 1 cup. Let's just make sure. Getting there. 1 cup. And in. Not too much required because it's not too much crumble needed. So on top of that, clean hands by the way, about 50 grams of butter, and also a good heaped tablespoon of sugar. Okay? Now, clean hands again, rubbing in. Just breaking up this butter, squeezing and pressing, lifting, until that butter is incorporated with the flour and looks like a crumb. That's good, and I'm leaving little lumps of butter in it so that they can melt nicely and clump up and create a bit of a chewy consistency. So All that's left to do really is just sprinkle on the crumble. You can see those lumps there now that I was talking about. The idea is just to cover the pineapple like so. Done. We're starting off this lovely custard with 3½ glasses of whole milk in a pot. We want it to almost come to the boil. The next thing that needs to happen for the custard is the separation of the eggs. I need 4. And I need to combine the 4 egg yolks with 3 tablespoons of corn starch or corn flour and some sugar. I'm using honey because I love the taste of it, and it's kind of like adding in an essence. So let's choose our eggs. It's easy. Just some patience and careful transfer from shell to shell, and you're done. The combination of egg yolks, cornstarch, and sugar will form a roux of sorts, which will thicken and sweeten the custard once the hot milk is poured in. Why do I do it this way? It's just satisfying, really. And a handy skill too to have up your culinary sleeve. Now we can see that we have a smooth mixture here. The cornstarch does really melt in. Just have to keep going at it. Lovely. Our milk. Now this did not come to the boil, which it's not supposed to. And I actually let mine sit for a second, so I just want to move the little bit of a skin that formed there. That will be disastrous. And then give it a good stir. I think I've got enough there, really. And you can see, because the egg has not cooked, we had the milk at the correct temperature. This just has to go back on the fire now to thicken up. Service. Chewy crumble over sweet pineapple. And let's add that creamy custard. To take me way back to school days. Happy times. Shall we have a go? Most definitely. So good. Homemade custard, nothing like it. That pineapple, the chewy but crumbly, slightly crispy crumble, it's a winner. Yum, yum, yum. Here's some chicken egg 101. It takes 24 to 26 hours for a layer hen to create an egg. 21 days to hatch it if humans don't intervene. In over 9,000 species of birds. Here are some eggs you may or may not have tried. Duck, emu, seagull, goose, guinea hen, ostrich, turkey, quail, and pheasant. We are going to make a very basic thing now, a simple scrambled egg. One of my favorite ways to eat it. Not too much in that, you say? But, and it's a big but, there is more. What do I really want in terms of texture, ingredients, hardness, or softness of that egg? I think knowing what outcome you want can be controlled with simple timing and temperature techniques. So here goes my version for Food Journey's scrambled eggs. I'm looking for color, flavor, and making sure my flavor choice of onion, green pepper, and this beautiful red hot chili are all finely diced for cooking uniformity. Let's crack some of these eggs. Gosh, we're using a lot of eggs today. So in a separate bowl, just to make sure they're okay. That's 1, 2, and a 3-egg scrambled egg. There we go. I think we'll just put all these back into here and get ready to give them a little bit of a scramble. Not too much, just a bit. And that's ready. So I've got my favorite little egg pot on the fire. It's heating up a bit, and I'm just simply putting in a little bit of olive oil, tiny bit of olive oil, and a knob of butter, because that's really gonna be the secret to making this rich. Giving that a bit of a stir. Here comes our lovely little pieces of pepper and onions. The rest just requires some patience on low heat. Pinch of salt. And now, in with our eggs. Keep on stirring gently on low, collecting from the sides of the pot or pan until it's starting to set. Now, this is the way I like it, and want to stop it at this point, so it's off the fire, and I'll just let the latent heat in the pot take it to the slightly loose texture that I prefer. Okay, one must try these scrambled eggs, even though it's not breakfast time. Just the way I like them. Not quite hard. A bit off-putting for some people, but there's just something about the smoothness and the creaminess of it. It just gets me every time, even though it's not breakfast. Well, I'm saving this one for last. My version of an egg stew. Now, why have I chosen egg stew? Well, nostalgia again. Remembering my times as a child, having my little friends over, and that's what they made us. They didn't have to use a whole load of meat and other types of more expensive protein. This was a great substitute when you're trying to sort of save pennies and make things stretch. Now, my version of the egg stew may not look exactly like yours or what you're used to, because I'm allowing other influences to come in from my travels. But guess what? It's a whole new fabulous recipe for you to try and to add to your egg repertoire. Look at all the beautiful colors involved in this next recipe. You're gonna love this. When I said pulling from my culinary travels, I'm touching upon unlikely flavors which, when combined, give unusually tasty results. time to blend. I'd love to have my tomato and my tatache blended nicely together. I actually think that's enough tomato, really. And my favorite stock cube, a teaspoon of good old Iru. Cover on. There you go, bit of a shake. Really blend that. Okay, I've got some olive oil in a lovely little pan and I'm putting in the onion and the garlic. So we're really just going to let this simmer nicely. Lovely smell too. This tomato paste has to be cooked out a bit by adding water and letting this reduce and repeating twice. When you see the avenue in the pan, add a bit more water. That's the second. Something smells delicious, and I think it's my stew. So now the fun part. This is what I've really been looking forward to because I intend to make this egg stew look terrific. So starting off with some sardines. I love these low sodium ones. And what I'm going to do is just decorate. These are tiny guinea hen eggs, packed with protein, and good for this recipe. And we're slipping them into the spaces. It's a triumph, a winner. You've got to try this one. Thanks for joining me on Food Journey today. I had so much fun. One last note before we go. Food Journey has a new Instagram. And if you were following us before, please come and follow us here now at FOODJERNY at Food Journey. Have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.